Well, good. Hello and welcome to Faith, Philosophy and Life. Me, Mr. Shelton. It's great to see you again. I do hope that you are okay and your family as well. Today we are going to be thinking, continuing our work on Islam, and we're going to be thinking about a mosque, the Muslim place of worship. So you need a pencil, a pen, a ruler possibly for today, and possibly a rubber if you're likely to make mistakes. Go and grab that because here's our cheesy intro music. Okay, so our title today is The Mosque. Okay, fairly straightforward title. We've got three objectives today. The first one is to understand how a mosque is used. The second one is to consider the importance of mosque to daily life. And the third one is to consider places which are special to people. So we're going to, hopefully by the end of this session, be able to describe how a mosque is used in daily worship. Hopefully we can explain how mosques are used in the life of a Muslim, and hopefully we can think about places that are special to other people as well. So today we're going to look at a mosque. I'm going to take you through a virtual tour of a mosque, which photos that I've taken when I went to one in Liverpool. A mosque is a place of worship that Muslims go to pray to Allah, and worship's led by an imam. Okay, so there's some really important facts. If you didn't know, hadn't heard imam or mosque or Allah previously, then I suggest you go back and have a look at some of the other lessons on this playlist. To help us learn what a mosque is for, we're going to look at some photographs, as I say, that I took from a mosque in Liverpool, and you're going to create a diagram and add information to that diagram. So it's going to be the same diagram, and you're going to add information to it and other little pictures as we go. That will make sense. So you're going to need a fair bit of room for this diagram, but you also need to be able to add right around the outside of it. So this is a really important fact for you. Being a Muslim is a way of life. Okay, it's something that Muslims do throughout all their lives, not just when they go to pray. Mosques have two big purposes for them. The first is to enable worship of Allah, and the second is for community use. So mosques are used for both worship and by the community, in the same way lots of churches are, and gurdwaras are, and many other things are as well. We're going to look at these uses as we go through today's lesson. To start with today though, we're going to look at how the mosque is used to worship Allah. Okay, the first thing I'd like to do is pause me and answer the question that's got the little asterisk next to it, which is what are the two main purposes of mosques? So pause me now and then come back to me. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of that today. This is what a traditional mosque look like from the outside. You can see there that the buildings of the mosque are a masjid. That's just another translation of the word. And it's got two aspects on it that you can see. You've got a minaret and a dome. Now let's see what they are for. The dome represents being under heaven. If you've ever been inside a mosque or been inside a building with a big dome on the top, then these are things that are decorated to make you think about the heavens. That's why it's a dome. And think about the universe that's controlled and created by Allah. The minaret is the tall tower. In some countries there's a mezzouin who stands at the top of the tower and calls out to Muslims to let them know that it's time to pray. I'm going to play a little bit now of what that call to worship might sound like. So just listen to this for a minute.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.
Okay, Okay, so Mezouins don't normally call out in the UK to let people know when it's time to pray. Don't forget, Muslims pray 5 times a day, so sometimes in the UK a minaret is not built, but they are fairly essential in other parts around the world. So this is the mosque we were talking about, the Al Rama Mosque in Liverpool. And I'd like you to answer these 2 questions. What is a minaret, and why do you think some mosques don't have them? So pause me now while you answer those questions. Okay, so what I'd like you now to do is I'd like you to draw this diagram out in your notes. There's 2 arrows there because we're going to be labeling those as well. We're going to be adding information into this diagram, so don't do it that small, but make sure that you leave enough room to write about it. I'm not going to say keep pausing me, I think that's fairly clear, so just pause me whenever you need to, because I'm just going to carry on. Okay, so the first thing that you notice is the large area is the prayer hall. That's the main focus area of this mosque and many mosques around the world. This is where Muslims will go to pray. Please note there are no seats, there are no benches. Muslims pray kneeling on the floor, prostrate as the phrase is. And they pray in the direction of the Qibla wall. Now the Qibla wall, as we'll look at in a few moments, always points towards Mecca, the Kaaba, the holy city. So that's the Qibla wall, so make sure you've got those labelled. Okay, the Qibla wall, as I said, faces the Muslim holy city of Mecca. Remember, there's loads of different ways you can spell that. As Muslims don't draw pictures of people or animals or Muhammad, peace be upon him, this wall normally has calligraphy on it to identify it, which is like really nice fancy writing. And I wonder why you think there are these clocks on the wall. Okay, so this is the question for you. Why do you think these clocks are on the Qibla wall? So have a look at them, and I'll give you a clue in a minute. Okay, a lot of you may have noticed here that there on the left hand side there are 5 clocks, 5 white ones and a red one. And this is simply because they're the 5 times the day the Muslims pray, they're the white times, and the red one is the actual time that I took this photo. So it was a Friday at 1 o'clock. So you can see there that you've got the 5, and again on the digital clock behind me you've got the same idea where you've got the actual time and you've got the 5 times of prayer underneath that. Muslims, as we said, don't believe that they should draw any images of Allah or Muhammad, so they often use ornate calligraphy. This is a picture of one of the verses from the Quran, which I saw. When Muslims go to the mosque to pray, they often bring their own prayer mats, and they quite often have a Qibla compass on, so wherever they are they know that what direction Mecca is. Within the mosque in Liverpool though, the carpet is designed so that people don't need to bring their own prayer mats. I wonder which wall you think points to these point towards in the carpet and why. So I'd like you to answer that question in your book based on what we've talked about already. Going back to your diagram then, I'd like you to add the Mirab. So draw a line and write the word Mirab, and we'll look at what that means. Okay, so the Mirab, this is a traditional Mirab. You can see here it's this larger area that's sort of set back. It's a niche in the wall, and it's part of the Qibla wall actually. You can see this is in the Liverpool Mosque. It's next to the clocks that we've just seen the photo of. The Mirab is used to remind people of the direction of Mecca, and the shape of the Mirab is sort of a curved shape, and it's to represent the ear of Allah listening to Muslims' prayers. So again, every mosque would have a Mirab, and that's sort of the area that you would know that the Mecca was facing. The next thing then is the minbar, and there's my little diagram for a minbar. So again, get that added. This is a photo of a traditional minbar. You can see there's steps going up and there's a little space at the top. In the Liverpool Mosque, it's nowhere near as grand as that. It's a little platform, which you can see there. The minbar in this photograph is a wooden one. Quite often they're very ornate. This is where the imam preaches from. Very similar to a pulpit that you'd find in a church, or the bema that you would find within a synagogue. So this is the question. How is the minbar used, and how is it similar to a church building? The next thing then is we've got shoes taken off. Okay, that's the first thing by the door. You can see a little gap there, and that is a photo of what the shoe rack might look like. But I'm sure you know what shoe racks look like. But why do they do it? Well, when worshippers enter the mosque, the first thing they do is take off their shoes. They do this because they believe that they're guests in the mosque. And good guests take off their shoes when they enter someone's house so they don't get the carpet dirty. Now that's the first thing that happens. Now there is one more thing after that as well, and that's the next box along there, the wudu. Okay, so the wudu then is ritual washing. Okay, ritual washing. Here's some information. Within a mosque, there's an area for Muslims to ritually wash their hands, their feet, and their head. They do this because when they want to pray to Allah, they want to do so being clean. Muslims will try and do this whenever they pray, and the act of ritual washing is known as wudu. Within a mosque, there's always an area near the entrance for Muslims to be able to complete wudu. So our two questions for you now to answer is, what is wudu, and why do Muslims wash before praying? So near the start of today's lesson, we thought about a second reason why mosques were used in terms of community use. And this building, because the building is used 5 times a day for prayer, it's often a convenient place to hold meetings as well. There's often a large celebration room for parties or weddings, and mosques are also used for learning. The Quran was written in Arabic, as I'm sure you know, so people can read it, and therefore they're taught how to read Arabic within the mosque. So this is your final task. I would like you to give some examples of how a mosque might be used during the week. And how important do you think that it is that a mosque is used for Muslims if they need to pray 5 times a day? Do these prayers have to happen in a mosque? And what's our thinking with that? So there are 2 questions, and I'm going to leave it there today. Thanks very much for your time. Hope you found that helpful, and you've got a nice diagram. It's all fully labelled. Please photograph it, send it through to your teachers, because obviously we would love to see it. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, wash hands you, God bless you, and I'll see you soon.